They called it the Jubilee Year. Modern scholars are not sure if it was ever actually put into practice, but it was an amazing law to have, though it's one that would never fly in the modern world, at least not as it's described in the Bible. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Monday, July 28th, 2025. It is described in the 25th chapter of Leviticus. It is a set of laws that expands on the idea of a regular Sabbath. Recall that the fourth commandment was all about observing a regular Sabbath day and keeping it holy or set apart. On the seventh day of the week, all Israel was to refrain from doing any work. The version of the Ten Commandments in Exodus describes it as the day the Lord rested from the work of creation. The version in Deuteronomy describes it as a day of rest, remembering the time when they were slaves in Egypt. Now in Leviticus, there is an extension of this idea. First, every seventh year was to be a year of rest for the land itself. Crops would be grown for 6 years, but in the seventh year, the land would have a chance to rest from its labor of producing crops. As any modern farmer knows, this is also good land management. Work a field too long, and the result is that land will no longer produce crops. Nutrients need to have a chance to be restored in the soil. Nowadays, we do it by rotating crops and by using fertilizer and other amendments to the soil. But Israel was simply to let the land go fallow for a year and live off the excess produced that had been set aside for the Sabbath year from the other 6 years. And to extend the Sabbath command even further, at the end of every 49 years, or what Leviticus would call a week of years, 7 periods of 7 years each, there was to be a Jubilee year. We read, "You shall count off 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years, so that the period of 7 weeks of years gives 49 years. Then you shall have the trumpet sound loud. On the 10th day of the 7th month, on the Day of Atonement, you shall have the trumpet sound throughout all your land. And you shall hallow the 50th year, and you shall proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants." So wonderful, a Jubilee year, a time for celebration. But there is more to it than that. Listen to what comes next, how this Jubilee year is to be observed. "It shall be a Jubilee for you. You shall return, every one of you, to your property, and every one of you to your family. That 50th year shall be a Jubilee for you. You shall not sow or reap the aftergrowth or harvest the unpruned vines, for it is a Jubilee. It shall be holy to you, and you shall eat only what the field itself produces. In this year of Jubilee you shall return, every one of you, to your property. When you make a sale to your neighbor or buy from your neighbor, you shall not cheat one another. When you buy from your neighbor, you shall pay only for the number of years since the Jubilee. The seller shall charge you only for the remaining crop years. If the years are more, you shall increase the price, and if the years are fewer, you shall diminish the price. For it is a certain number of harvests that are being sold to you. You shall not cheat one another, but you shall fear the Lord your God, for I am the Lord your God." Amazing here. All land reverts back to its original owner in the Jubilee year. Did your father run into financial difficulties way back when and sell your family's land? Then your land would not be permanently penalized. Your family would not be permanently penalized for one generation's mistakes. Instead of selling land permanently, it was more like selling the rights to the land for a set period of time. And at the end of that time, the land would return to the original family. That's really amazing. But what does it have to do with us? For better or for worse, our modern world is built on a completely different economic model. Unlike in the ancient world, the vast majority of us no longer make our living off the land. We make our living doing things like selling goods and services, by teaching, by building things. Relatively few of us are involved actually in agriculture anymore. But that doesn't mean there isn't some ongoing significance for us in the laws concerning the Sabbath year and the Jubilee year. Let me suggest two things this continues to mean for us. First, it is a reminder that everything we own ultimately belongs not to us, but to God. We are stewards of the resources in our control, whether they be land or wealth or time or talents. We are generally free to use them as we see fit, but ultimately we are accountable to God for how we use these things. Second, it is a reminder that we cannot and must not take unfair advantage of people when they are down. In my observation, the rougher people's circumstances, the tougher we make it for people to get back on their feet. Whether it is the exorbitant interest of payday loans or the high cost of banking for those who live paycheck to paycheck, the least little hiccup in life, an unexpected medical bill, an ill-timed car repair, results in people getting hopelessly behind with very little way to catch up, let alone to get ahead. I see the results of these problems nearly every month when I get requests from one of our mission partner agencies when they ask for extra cash to help people who face eviction or having their utilities shut off because of an unexpected major expense. We may not celebrate a Jubilee year in our day and age, but the law governing it continues to guide us even today. Tomorrow, a few laws that at first blush leave us, scratching our heads. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.